ladies and gentlemen, to our facilitator, Mrs. Patricia. In terms of the topics that we are looking at today, it's just an exploration of quality management systems, quality assurance, quality control, and what the differences are. We are going to spend a bit of time looking at the role of an internal quality assurer within our organization. We're going to look at quality assurance in relationship to the training cycle. We will also look at quality assurance in regards to learning, teaching, and development. We'll look at the framework, and then we're going to look at a practical example of how the quality assurance framework has been implemented in an organization in the Middle East. Before we continue, there are some key words that we usually use when we're talking about quality assurance. Sometimes people interchange these words, other times people don't look at them as, they look at them as two separate words: quality assurance, quality control. Let's stop for a few minutes and think about these two concepts: quality assurance, quality control. Are they the same words? Do they mean the same thing to you? Are they different? Let's use, look at this in a fun way. Let's use Slido. So what I'm going to ask everyone today is use your mobile device and go to slido.com in your mobile device. So what we want to do is look at the difference between quality assurance and quality control, or also words that you can link to quality assurance and quality control. So to do this, we're going to slido.com. So use your mobile device, type in slido.com. It's going to ask you for a code. The joining code is #350606. Slido.com, please. And the code is what I have just read out. Okay, so once you've put that code, a question is going to pop out and it's going to require you to put in a word or a phrase that you can link to quality assurance, quality control, what those words mean to you. It's just a quick activity, shouldn't take us more than 5 minutes. Slido.com, those words or phrases that you can, that are synonymous to quality assurance, quality control. Is everyone able to do that? The code is, the joining code 350606. (350-606). Okay. Share. Because we've changed laptops, I'm just trying to share the screen of Slido from a different laptop. Sorry about the delay, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, yes. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for your patience. Loads and loads of answers and phrases are coming up here. Ensure quality, quality assurance, standard, fit for purpose, assessment, examination, acceptable, excellent work, quality control. So these are some of the words. I hope you can see my screen. You can see the words that are being generated to show the phrases that you would associate with quality assurance and quality control. So for us in our work environment, are we intentional about these choices of words? Are we ensuring that these things come to fall when we are discussing quality? Quality is authenticity. Yes, it's fine. But how is that ensured in your work environment? Error proof. Yes, that's correct. I agree with you. How is this ensured? So those are some of the things that we are going to explore as we go further in today's presentation. Thank you very much. I'm going to now go back to the slide. Just wanted us to have a quick energizer on what you can associate with quality assurance. So I'm going to stop sharing this now, and then I will return to the presentation. Yes, okay. So the words that you presented, that you all identified, can be classified into either quality assurance or quality control. Within quality assurance, where we are assuring the quality of our provision, the quality of our services, you can say that we are more process-oriented. So in the planning of the training program, if you are going to link this to the quality management system, you say that you are more process-oriented. But in quality control, you are more product-oriented. In terms of, somebody did say error proof. We are saying we are in assurance to prevent defect products. We are trying to prevent mega hit, for example, and delivery of control is the process then of identifying problems. Our approach in quality assurance, follow this to ensure that in your training programs, you are on top of your game, so to say. Quality control is more reactive. It's a reactive approach. It has happened and now you are reacting instead of being proactive all the way through. Quality control is a managerial tool. So I think this is where, if I could link to some of the things that Mr. Rajiv mentioned today, with his neuro-linguistic programming activity, he talked about our consciousness, and this is where the managers come in. Again, active tool. Assurance is responsibility. So right from implementation, from planning, if you look at your training cycle, at some point, everybody within the organization is involved. So within that, you can say that it's everyone's responsibility to be involved in quality assurance. But I call it within our quality control, it's a specific team's responsibility, because we are now identifying defects. We are now identifying issues. I don't want to use the word program. I'm also trying to be intentional, following the training that we had this morning. So I'm trying as much as possible to choose my words carefully. So it's a specific team's responsibility in order to identify products or services or trade programs that needs to be, that requires remedial action. Our quality assurance and our quality control all under a quality management system. Encyclopedia definition, the quality management system is a collection of business purpose processes, and it's about meeting customer needs. It's about meeting our clients' needs. It's about meeting training needs and requirements. So our quality management system is policies and procedures that is rolled out so that everybody follows this. And within the quality management system, you have your quality control and your quality assurance. Now, if we are to focus on a quality management system, there are some principles that are applicable. The principles that are applicable that we should think about or that we are already implementing in our work environment includes being customer focused, being training focused, and that's the first aspect of our training cycle of your learners. Within the quality management system, I'm not going to read everything. I'm just going to pick a few that resonates with our practices. So apart from being customer focused, there's also leadership responsibility to ensure that every member of the organization is committed to quality. And the commitment is really around ensuring that quality is the need for quality is made aware to everybody. Our quality management principles is about engagement of people, process, which I already said. We all identified is about improvement, and not just improvement for now, it's a commitment to continuous improvement all the way through, and focusing on improvement and ensuring that our processes are well understood, and then evaluating this word for word. We know that most of our organizations, there are some aspects of quality is being undertaken. We're doing that already. So the question I'm going to ask in this webinar is, what kind of roles have you allocated to an internal quality assurer? So the person, your key person that you have nominated to be in charge of organizing, kind of roles and responsibilities have been assigned, allocated to this, to the person you have identified. Can I please ask you, if you want to, you can talk about it. If you also feel like using the meeting chat, you can do that as well. So let's just very quickly use the meeting chat and just drop a few words that you have stated or that you intend to allocate in the future. Let's just spend about 5-10 minutes looking at this. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. So Kingsley is saying here that training program evaluation, yes. Anymore. Okay, so this is a principles and perhaps observation. Edna, you said the team goes from class to class to facilitate. So they facilitate and maybe they observe, maybe, not sure. Okay, so what assessor, you've given the assessor responsibility to the quality person. Yes, that's a key function. Absolutely. Clients, yes. That's another one. Good. Can we have a few more, please? That your current quality person is doing, the roles they are performing. There's so many things they should be doing. Yeah, so there's about implementation here, implementation of policy. Policy, yeah, absolutely. I think policy is the first we want our internal quality person to be responsible for. Quite a few more, the overarching goals. So somebody who is responsible for the overarching goals of the organization with specific reference to quality. Yes, maintaining standards, very true, setting up standards. The question I'm going to ask is the standards we're talking about, how is that arrived at? The standards that we want to, it's you know, food for thought. Okay. Yes, procedure. Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's look at what as the roles that we expect somebody who is in quality to take. So we mom, expected roles of your nominated quality person to undertake. We expect them to plan to process and also to, because if you're planning to monitor processes, you would have identified who the person is going to. We are saying is we want should do some planning around monitoring, around observation, and also be very clear to specify who they are going to observe and when. As a barest minimum, we expect our quality person to do some observations. And within that observation, we also expect them to look at the work of the trainers, just to be sure that the quality of work produced is at the standard that you expect. Maybe of the for example, if it's a portfolio, that learners' work is up to standards. We expect your internal you're able to give developmental feedback, because we are committed to continuous improvement. Therefore, the internal quality person should all the time be able to feedback. We expect at the barest minimum for an internal quality person to be able to sample assessment. So we make assessments. It could just be assessment as simple as question and answer. It needs to be moderated to ensure that question and answer assessment. We expect that our IQA should meet with trainees and others and their line manager where applicable. We expect an IQA to carry out standardization in order to ensure consistency. So it's just ensuring that there is a standard, that members of the team are very clear about the expected standards, and that's been implemented. Then finally, at the barest minimum, we expect support. We expect the IQA to be in a position to support trainers, assessors, and facilitators. I'm just going to stop for a second, just ask the question. What we've just talked about, does it ring bells at all? I know we have identified when we did the quick observe a few more. I've now mentioned support for trainers. You did identify standardization. What about sample assess within your organization? Yeah, your chat and for questions answers that people are putting down. I want us to think about assessment, to sample assessment decisions, and just to ensure that are consistent with what has been agreed during standardization. Now, in terms of implementing quality assurance, quality management system in our organization, we need to ensure that there's a quality framework. Second. Please, yes, robust enough, okay, to convey the message that we want to give out to our general public. Those involved, when we are creating a quality management framework, we must ensure that those involved in all aspects of the delivery program there's a statement that talks about what we expect of them in terms of qualification. So our trainers, for example, there should be some expectations. What qualification do we want them to have? Do we want them to, for example, be trained trainers? Should they have assessor qualification? And what about their subject matter knowledge? Should they be subject matter experts within their field? That should be stated in the quality assurance framework. We must also state in our quality assurance framework that our processes are subject to review. So it's continuous review, so that our delivery and the way that services are perceived are at a high quality. And finally, the quality of our programs and application are measured. So we should have some performance indicators to ensure that our training programs are up to the standards that we want them to be. Now, for most of the MDIs and for those that are involved in learning, training, and development, there are some essentials that must be considered when you are putting together your quality framework. For example, what we must consider here is that our programs are fit for purpose, that there are benefits to the learner and to the organization. This is we're now very much specific to learning, training, and development when we are devising our quality framework that is fit for purpose, that there's maximum benefit to the learner and to the organization. So it's a symbiotic relationship, and that is linked to the ethos of the organization. That our quality framework in LTD ensures that it ensures ownership, because when you show ownership, then you are more committed. And finally, within quality framework in LTD, there should be support and guidance in all stages. In order not to make this a lecture, I'm just going to stop and just welcome participants to share with us their thoughts on quality framework within their organizations, also to share with us what your thoughts are around what should be contained in your framework. Can we just have a quick discussion at this point regarding that in your various organizations? If you want to say something, if you put your hand up, you will be unmuted if you are not able to unmute yourself. So basically what we are looking at here is quality framework within your organization. What does it look like? Let's do a quick brain shower, please, ladies and gentlemen.
I think what we need to do at this stage is to share experiences. from our different organizations, can we just say how do we carry out so far quality assurance? What framework do we have in our different organizations? How do we operate it? So if you have comments, inputs to make, just signify by raising up your hand, and we'll be able to pick you. I also can say the president of IFTDO in Africa and Asia with us. Mrs. Jola, I'll show you are welcome. Dr. David Ayano.
Yes,
please
sir.
unmute yourself. Please,
yes, I have.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam. We are very grateful for your presentation, and you are still on. Yes. At this moment, you mentioned about quality framework.
Yeah.
If we are to be sincere to ourselves, the quality framework is already at fault in some of the MDI, because the standards that we use to set in order to establish the framework is eroding. You can ask me why. Because the people that have been so passionate about this, they are not even allowed to take part in some of these things. So when you are mixing politics with administration, the reality will not be in place. And that has been the experience in MDIs. Especially, a nation, the attitude in a nation will translate to what is happening in the organization and society. So we have this issue of not entrenching quality in our system. Take for instance, I was in a class sometimes ago talking about procurement process in Nigeria. And you know that the Procurement Act 2007, repeat 2016, all this has told us about what to do. But if you could agree with me, you will see that that procurement process is still at fault, even up to now. And these are the things that we are talking about. That is national. I mean, going to the states and now come home to MDI. How do we do that? When you are putting round peg in a square hole, there's no way. Even our recruitment is affecting us. So the framework for quality seems not to work because we don't have the right human resources to even carry out the assignment. So it's a problem in MDI. And that is the major thing. If we are saying how we are carrying it out, in the past, fine. But things are changing. In fact, the focus about quality is eroding in most of the MDI. So I think I will take it from that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So what you are saying here is lip service is being paid to quality and quality assurance. And
very well, very well, very, very well. We are not serious about what we are doing.
Fatu, Mrs. Fatu from the Gambia, can we know what it is in the Gambia? How does it look like in the Gambia? Mrs. Fatu, are you still with us?
I am with you.
Please, can you tell us the experience of the Gambia? Thank you.
I think mine would be more like a question than it will be followed up by a question. We have a committee, as I said last week, and it's headed by a senior member who's not, of course, a head of department. He works under a particular department. But the problem we have, it's the staff are not listening to him. He's not the support. And the question I want to ask on that, it's instead of him chairing the committee, would it be better to have the committee chaired by a more senior person? Would that help? I.e., if it's the Director General of the MDI, then we are looking at the question of conflict of interest, because who do you report to if there are quality issues? Because at the moment we report to the Director General if there are non-compliance or quality issues. But then who would be a better person to head that committee, the Quality Assurance Committee, since it's not a unit at the moment? So that's a follow-up question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But that's, I believe, anybody who is nominated to deliver and lead on quality should be somebody who is able to make changes, somebody with some authority ascribed to them. The Director General, I don't know if that should really be their remit, because quality assurance and quality work really involves deep diving in order to get to root cause, and it also requires focus. So I suppose it may not be the Director General who should be doing this, so that they can focus on strategic goals of the organization. But this is just my opinion. I mean, people work differently, but there could be somebody, a senior member, a senior member of the team who should perform the role of, who should do this quality role, really, so that, you know, there is some power to go with it, power to be able to make on-the-spot decisions. That's what I think personally, but I'm sure it differs from organization to organization.
Thank you very much, Madam.
Okay.
Okay. Can we also check comments from FRIMA from Liberia, from LIPA, Liberian Institute of Public Administration? What does quality assurance, what does it look like? FRIMA, can you unmute yourself? Luna Amon, you are also from Liberia. Either you or FRIMA should be able to tell us the experience of Liberia. Thank you. You can unmute yourself.
Yes.
You have the floor, please.
The page is minimized and then I can't something. Not opening.
We can hear you, please.
Yes, for the quality assurance, it's one of the positions that we are trying to look into, because we don't have that operating now in Liberia. So with Professor Yone, he just talked about it, that we need to insert that into our job listing. So trying to look into that. So from this presentation, there are a lot of things that I'm picking up that on the task, the responsibility that our quality assurance personnel should have. So I'm picking a lot of things that I can share with him later.
Okay, thank you. Is there another person, any person from Ghana that wants to share with us the experience? Please just raise up your hand. Okay, Mrs. Ogunkoya from Liberia. Can you unmute yourself? You want to compliment what Luna said?
Hello, are you
Yes,
hearing me?
We are hearing you, please.
Okay. Most times we actually carrying out quality assurance, but it's not actually spelled out. For instance, if you have a training coming up, there is a tendency that people bring their friends in. And that is almost occurring in all MDI. So what we do is to actually look in our books. We have requirements. For instance, we just launched a leadership program yesterday, and someone brought his friend in to be one of the facilitators or a trainer. And when the person left, the DG called me and said, this is what is happening. I said, but DG, what we need to look at actually is, what is our purpose? What is the content? And what is the objective of our leadership training? Is it not for us to enhance productivity at our client's workplace? So we have to be very careful in selecting our trainers. We have to ensure that the selection of our trainers is actually based on the community of practice. That is, we ensure that we select those that have experience to deliver. We're only going to deliver these courses within 3 days or 5 days at most. So in other words, we require to ensure that those that are working with the knowledge, not just people that are in the university. So they are working with that knowledge, with that experience to help those that are working. So without the DG knew, like it is good, it is the fact that the whole MDI is proliferated with a lot of politics, but sometimes we need to come up with the right requirements to say, yes, you can bring your friend as long as your friend fall into these quality assurance requirements. It's good to go. But if your friend comes and we find out that during our interview, it does not fall into this quality assurance requirements, then the person or your friend cannot go in. At that point, we have a stated framework to go ahead. So that is what I think MDI should be looking at now, because we cannot rule out politics in our establishments. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Also get someone from AFCON and AMSI to tell us their own experience. AFCON in Badagry, Lagos. Can we get someone to tell us the experience? Quality assurance in AFCON. Then let's move AFCON and also AMSI. I think I can see Dr. Aremu. Is someone from AFCON talking to us? Dr. Aremu from AMSI, are you still with us? We've heard from Liberia how when people bring in facilitators, it is compromised with. What is the situation? Dr. Aremu, Dr. Yilade from AMSI. The two of you, are you with us or you are not?
Yes, sir.
Please, what is the experience like with AMSI about quality? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. In AMSI, we ensure quality in everything that we do.
How do you do it? Can we share experience?
Yes, sir. As a trainer, individually, we ensure quality in our modules, in the design of our modules.
How do you carry it out?
Meeting our participants' needs. We have a faculty forum, which is headed by Dr. Mrs. Yilade. And anytime we are rolling out programs, we always meet. We meet, we deliberate, we review our training programs, we review our modules, and in selection of facilitators for each of our programs, we give out the best.
Okay,
And we
thank you.
ensure quality by making sure that our participants will meet our needs and then they are satisfied at the end of the day.
Okay. Thank you. Is it possible for us to get someone from?
So let us look at the training cycle and how you can ensure that there's aspects of quality embedded. So like the lady who's just finished talking, and she talked about identifying the learning needs. The question is, how do you do this? How do you identify the learning needs? Because that's the first stage of training cycle. Within this first stage, there must be some aspects of quality embedded. And here we are suggesting that it's good to identify the learning needs of your trainees. The question here is, how is this carried out? And what do you do with the information that is gathered? The second stage of the training cycle in terms of embedding quality to this is in the design of your program. So people have suggested today that they meet in faculties to look at how the program is designed. You look at the level, you look at the content. For example, if it's a training program that is linked to an awarding body, you want to ensure that the learning objectives are met, that the program itself is fit for purpose. That's an aspect of quality. These are very, very basic things that may have been overlooked or taken for granted. While revisiting it today to ensure that within the training cycle, quality assurance is well embedded. At stage 3 is when you deliver training. And this is the stage at which observation could happen. This is the stage at which the internal quality assurer can also have a conversation with trainees just to find out about how training has happened. It's a stage where you want to ensure that the training is delivered at the right level and the right resources are used and the right training model is being implemented. Within the training cycle, the last stage to ensure that quality is incorporated is the evaluation. So it's evaluation really is about gathering intelligence. It's about gathering feedback so that we can use whatever is gathered to improve. And this is where our continuous improvement cycle really happens. You don't just finish training and let it go, but rather you gather the evidence, you gather intelligence, and you make something out of it. Now, in terms of the people who want to now start to look at how you put together your framework, there are some documents that you need to look at. The documents would help you. This is just a rough guide, not a set in stone. There are some documents that you may want to look at in order to formulate your policy for your framework, quality framework. For example, you may want to look at training standards. You may also want to look at some policies. Policies, for example, or it could be academic policy. It could also be policies on malpractices and maladministration. That definitely sits within your quality framework because it enables your outsiders to have confidence in your delivery. Internal verification also is a document that could be looked at. We will not spend a lot of time today looking at internal verification, but it's a very big aspect of quality assurance where there's a verification of the assignment that you are issuing out, verification of process, just to ensure that things are good to go. You also, in putting together your policy document, may also want to look at learner achievements. What's happening? Are your students or are your trainers, are they making progress? If they are not, what is there that you need to do? And it's also good to look at learning outcomes that are measurable. Any documents that you have on measurable learning outcomes. Normally, this can be found in a qualification document. You would find your learning outcomes within that. So these are just some tips and guidance on documents that could be used in order to develop your framework. Now I'm going to share with you an experience having worked in the Middle East, seconded to work with ACVET. ACVET is an organization in the Middle East, and I'm just going to share with you how they have implemented their quality assurance process. So ACVET really means Abu Dhabi Center for Technical and Vocational Education, and it was established by the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. The main focus of this organization was, in a nutshell, it's about policy. Sorry, it's about standards, it's about quality assurance, particularly within training centers where technical vocational education is being delivered. So what they've done, the way they've set it up in the UAE, you have a regulatory body, which is ACVET, who ensures that there's consistency wherever technical and vocational education is being delivered. And to ensure that this is really something that is doable, it's it was necessary for them to have a strong quality assurance department. Right, so within ACVET, the way their framework was set out was to make sure that there's clarity around their mandate, which was to ensure that there was consistency, like I said, in the delivery of TVET, technical vocational education. So wherever a particular qualification is being delivered in, let's say, training organization A, it should be the same in training organization B. So there is no discrepancy. And if you are registered in a particular organization, you are not at a disadvantage, because ACVET was very clear about their quality framework, their monitoring and evaluation, just to ensure that no discrimination. Now, the functions of the quality department in ACVET, like most of us have talked about today, was to coordinate and develop reports at organizational level that highlights the performance of training centers, particularly around key performance indicators that has been identified, and also in the delivery of quality. Other functions of ACVET Quality Assurance Department was to conduct and report on quality assurance, to deliver customer service, to ensure that stakeholders, and then to also ensure that there were systems and processes in place that helped to enhance quality assurance. Also, what they had as one of their mandates was to ensure that they were working towards ISO 9001. Having been very clear in setting up quality assurance mechanism in ACVET and within training organizations, what came out of the implementation was there was a reduction in waste. Trainer times was used wisely. There was good planning that enabled lean, I would say lean delivery at this point, more for less. Also, there was consistency. I'm just now talking about the impact. There was consistency in terms of implementation of policies and standards, because there was a clear mandate, there was clarity around their quality management system. So it was implemented in exactly the same way in all the centers. Of course, anybody can Google ACVET. Their image, you know, they were perceived to be an organization that implemented quality, and that helped with their reputation. Any organization at the time that had ACVET as endorsed by ACVET had international recognition, and I'm sure that's where most of us want to be benchmarked against organizations that they are all doing the same thing. And also within all the centers, and even particularly at ACVET, there was a realignment of set standards. So everybody understood the standards and there was realignment. Now for us who already have quality department, or are thinking of enhancing or strengthening our quality department, there are some staffing requirements to be considered. So for example, if you have assessors or facilitators, we need to think about the qualification that we expect of our assessors. And also we want to ensure that they are subject matter experts in their field. The example I always give is, you cannot get somebody who has business administration qualification to deliver engineering. There is no correlation. So I think we should look at the requirements of our assessors and facilitators, again, just to ensure that we are using the right people to do the job, because otherwise that will not work. So apart from ensuring that organizations have qualified facilitators, assessors, we also are suggesting, that is highly, it's not a suggestion actually, it's a recommendation that organizations should have internal quality assurance. So these are the people then who quality assure the work of assessors. And what we are saying is not just anybody to be a internal quality assurer. We want people that are occupationally competent. So they have to be occupationally competent, and they will be appointed to undertake this role. There are organizations that have 3, 4, 5 internal quality assurers. If that is the case, then it is said that you should have a lead internal quality assurer. So there should be one person who manages a team of IQAs. So what's our purpose today? Our purpose for this webinar is for us, everybody who is here today are leaders. We want us to start to look at, we want some blue sky thinking around how we have implemented quality assurance within our organization. So this is where I want to just draw some examples from the neuro-linguistic programming that Mr. Rajiv talked about today. This is now about how we perceive our thoughts around quality assurance. It needs to change. It needs to reflect the things that we have talked about today. And within the change in our minds, in our brains, our neuro, we need to now look at our linguistic, the words that we use, so that we need to be more intentional in the right choice of words to drive quality assurance within our organizations. So really, this is leadership. This is about leadership. It's a leadership function. It's really ensuring that, yes, there's a department that is responsible for quality and that we have recruited the right people for the role. If they are not at the level you want them to be, training should be put in place for them. And whilst they are undertaking training, we need to ensure that we have people who can mentor and coach people within the organizations. Still within our strategic thinking, our leadership thinking, we also need to look at the various skills and the responsibilities that are needed. Again, it's food for thought for us today. It's forward thinking. It's really being proactive and just making sure that we have some things in place that will ensure that we are refocusing where we want quality assurance, quality to be within our organization. We also now need to start thinking about key performance indicators and also about priorities. And this is really leadership. What's going to be our key performance indicators? How can we prove to stakeholders? How can we prove to the minister? How can we prove to the CEOs that we are indeed, we have refocused and we have rechanneled quality assurance, quality within our organization, and these are the measurable impacts. So this is where our key performance indicators comes in. I don't know if we have the time to do breakout room. Really, the purpose of this is for us to meet virtually, just to again blue sky thinking. Let's just again share experience. let's look at the challenges and then let's look at moving forward. So we are going to manually do the breakout room now so that we can meet for 10 minutes just to have a quick brain.
I just want to ask so that they can put this into their discussion.
Yes.
Some MDIs, ma'am, might not be ready for restructuring and creating quality units.
Yeah.
Can we decentralize so that the program lead in the various departments and units can take up part of the role? Can we decentralize the role, the functions?
It's possible, but there needs to be somebody who is accountable. It's possible.
Maybe the accountable one can do the control.
Yes, the planning, the control, but then there will be aspects of quality happening in various functions of the organization.
That's what I mean by decentralized part of the rules. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Welcome back, everyone, from the breakout room. I want to believe everyone is back now to the main meeting. We're waiting for about 8 people to return. Whilst we are waiting for the 10 other participants to join us in the main meeting, we were able to circulate in the rooms, we were able to pick up some conversations that people had. Can I just ask if somebody is happy to feedback from each of the rooms, from each of the breakout room sessions, the main themes that came out of the discussion? Can I ask, please, if we have 5 minutes just to summarize the main themes that came out from our discussion?
I think we can quickly start running through the room.
Somebody representing room one?
Room 1, yes, let's do it that way, room 1.
So that room 1, so if we wait and the room is
nobody will. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Adishegiri Monday can represent room 5.
Okay.
We met in room 5, and I think we can unmute Adishegiri Monday, who can represent room 5. Monday, can you please represent room 5? Adishegiri Monday, can you please summarize briefly what the points we raised in our class, in our group? Monday, please, can you unmute yourself? Adishegiri Monday, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I've unmuted myself.
Yes, please, can you just brief the entire house, our main discussion in our group? Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, we are with you. We are hearing you, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. We met in room 5, and the major thing we look at is organizational politics affects quality assurance, organizational politics, where in the future in the sentimental attachment to seniority than the area of specialization of officers that we do the job. And also, we also look at interest on the part of the individuals. Their interest, area of interest, as well affects the operation of quality assurance in any given organization. When the individual's interests are no longer there, or when they have multiple interests, where to pitch their term becomes an issue. And we also look at the issue of the umbrella body, the head organization. For instance, the role of for instance, organizations that has board, the role of the board on the organization also affect the quality assurance, where they interfere too much into the affairs of the MDIs. So the issue of quality assurance will be compromised. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
While we can ask other groups, the representative of other groups, to raise up their hands so that we can just call them to save time.
Yeah.
Representative, okay, Dr. David Ayano, please, can you unmute? Dr. David, unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. I belong to Group 3, And
Okay, thank you.
Madam also visited us there. She met us. We have discussion over some live issue with one of our room members who said that a lady, PhD holder in a pharmacy, she says she has been in charge of training in a government hospital, and the role she's supposed to play in terms of quality management, she has itemized them, followed them, but anytime she wants to go ahead and do this, there's always interference from the CEO, from the boss, maybe the CMD of the hospital, chief medical director of the hospital. So, and the man always truncates, and as a result of that, they don't deliver what's expected. So we now say, okay, what can we do? One, she'll have the three options. She resigned her duty as a trainer and she faced a pharmacy role, because that is even a kind of second role she's playing there. And also maybe she will just tell them, just resign, or just put a letter together and submit and tell the man that he should give it to another person. Or she should tell the man should conduct a kind of training assessment to see what other people, the trainee, because the trainee is even for internal staff, the junior one in particular. You should just go and conduct training need assessment so that she will now attach it to whatever document she wants, a letter, a cover letter, and then the man, this is the objective, this is the training assessment I've conducted, and these are the training, the objective of training, and this is how training should be. So, well, with the third one, Madam also meet us there, the facilitator of this current workshop, current topic, and we all agree that, well, it's better she do the last advice. And generally, after Madam left, we now say, what would have even been leading to this? Because my own experience in various MDI, people have been complaining, my own is not exempted, is that we always have interference of the CEO. We don't leave this thing to those people who know the job. And that one also goes with organizational politics and the interests of the individual and the people that can play the ball with the present edge in the organization. You see, when you're talking of standard, you don't need to be the friend of the CEO. In fact, you are the CEO, do you want this organization to move forward, or you want to play politics with it? Many times, I do stand like that in my organization. If you want something to move forward, we leave people that know how to do it, let them do it and give us results. Because enough of all this playing politics with the things of standard. We will continue to have substandard. And I said so the other time, the quality of human being, human resources, working in your organization will translate into your product. We help you to move your product to the higher grade. If your quality of human resources are not good, your product will not. So the standard is worse off. So we lay obviously that we need human resources, quality human being to work at workplace and to also work in quality assurance departments. Because the other time, Madam mentioned something like occupational competence. Somebody that have the knowledge of what you are looking for should be in the head of that and should be member of that committee to carry out the quality assurance. So if we want to entrench quality assurance in our organization, our MDI, we should, the CEO should leave the field and allow things to work. That is my submission, our general submission in the group. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I can see Babalola Olusegun, I think, probably he or she represented a group.
Oh, well, from group 7, we have 3 NDIs that are represented: AMTI, PSSDC and CMD. What we actually discuss revolve around program implementation, and we're looking at quality assurance and quality control. And from the three agencies, we had report of how it is carried out, looking at in relation to the training cycle that we are all familiar with. In AMTI, they have a department of monitoring and evaluation that oversees the implementation of program right from the point of setting objectives, content development, program implementation, and evaluation of the programs and projects of the organization. Then in CMD, there's a department, the research department, that actually manages this process. And from the PSSDC end, we talked about the technical directorates that also have input in this. Then we also have the planning and research department that design various instruments through which different things are measured before, during, and after the program. Of specific interest is the impact assessment that is usually carried out 3 months after the implementation of a particular program, and through which a lot of feedback comes back to the organization. And we discovered that now that e-learning, e-governance, it's now the order of the day. We were unable to go out because of COVID and other challenges that we had. We had to do it online. Not all the people that received the instruments responded, but a few people that responded actually gave the institution some of the feedback that we need to improve on our system, on our process, and the way we implement our programs. Then we also have a process manual document in the center that talks about what should be done at every stage of program design and implementation. This process manual is also summarized to a 2-page document again. We have all this in the center that helps in program implementation. And we said that, we concluded that strict adherence to the laid down procedure usually results in good success when it comes to program implementation. And non-compliance will definitely lead to crisis. Then within
I think Mr. Abidogun has muted himself. If he's still on, please unmute, but let's make a summary of some of these things. 2 hands are okay. Abidogun is back.
Okay. Well, I said non-compliance. We have instruments within the system that, that we call to questions those that should face consequences of failure when each time we had crisis in any of the 3 institutions. Those are the things that we discussed. Thank you.
So thank you very much. 2 hands are still up. I hope we can quickly take them. Ayodele Olowogbayi and Farayola Charles, if they are representing groups. Ayodele Olowogbayi, you can shoot now.
Yes, I represent classroom 4, and looking at the challenges facing quality assurance in our own organization and some other organizations that we were grouped together. We try to take the subject matter of attendance in the face of lateness to trainings and the will to want to go early, even from training. So this is the basic thing we saw as a challenge. Following some of our discussions, we said lateness and early going might actually deter quality assurance in trainings. It may not actually make the training achieve what is somebody that missed class before, that missed some part of the training, joining later, or somebody that go early before the training is being completed might not actually have a detail or achieve the purpose of the training. Secondly, participation are tied to some office work. It means that nomination of participants for trainings needs to hands off office work so that they have full time to face training, not as if you have been nominated and you are still holding on to some office work. And we also check setting of time, even for training itself, which we link up to, which Dr. Mrs. Olusoji emphatically said that it should be made plain and clear during the climate setting, resumption time and closing time for every training. And there should be a provision for signing in and signing out during training. And in case perhaps the training takes too long and it looks boring, practical sessions or hands-on should be introduced, especially in adult learning. She also suggested that tests can even be given at the end of training so that it will make people serious and not elude class before the completion of training. She also made mention that agreement with sponsors on what they really want to achieve about training should be spelled out in detail so as to know how to monitor the participants during training. And monitoring of participants and submission of reports back to their respective office where they are nominated is germane. When you are nominated as a participant and you know that you will be going back to submit reports, you will not think of going late or absconding from the training before the completion of training. Here we have the contribution of Statokwe Osuntuyi, and he was trying to look at the case of adults. You cannot bully adults or you cannot constrain them or the way you do to younger people. And he said that you don't keep them idle. So take for instance, an example of a PAMSEC that came 2 days to the end of a training was given. And then what penalty or what power does the facilitator have to sanction such a PAMSEC, especially if the PAMSEC happens to be a boss to the facilitator, of which Dr. Yaya came in and said a standard should be set. He used AMTI as an example, stating that in AMTI, 75% attendance is a standard. And if you cannot make 75% attendance, it means you are not worth nominating for perhaps next training, or you have not done justice to that training, or you will even be denied of your certificate, of which I think finally now. Hello?
Yes, please, finally now.
Okay, finally. The moderator also said that in his own case or in his own establishment, you miss a day for a training, you are out of the training. So which is the standard or yardstick they used to peg quality assurance as per attendance in his own place. These were the discussions we were able to bring up in our own classroom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So that we do not keep the facilitator waiting, can we quickly take Charles Farayola?
Yeah.
Charles. Charles Farayola from AMTI, representing a group. You have unmuted yourself before. You are now muted. Okay, speak now. Yes.
Yeah, I'm representing Group 2. We look at the challenges of quality assurance, and we are talking that policy inconsistency is one of the challenges that we are having in quality assurance. And also, we are talking about the bureaucracy and bottleneck in line of communication as one of the challenges again. Also, we talk about inadequate training of quality assurance on the facilitator themselves. And we even talk about inadequate motivation in the system as some of these challenges. So we now concluded that for us to be able to even achieve this quality assurance, there must be a kind of decentralized, that we should allow who ought to work, who ought to do a particular thing to do it, not by saying that this one is in favor of knowing somebody and to do it. We should allow the one that have the mastery of subject area or that have the knowledge of what we want to do what he ought to do. By this, we can even assure and can even know that yes, we are doing what is right. Not that we are doing things of favorism or we are looking at it that this one can do this, but we must even look at who and who that is qualified, who and who that is that have mastery of the subject matter in what we want to do. And by this, we can even come out of these challenges. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. We now move back to the facilitator to wrap up on all of this and take us to the closing shots of this presentation. This is Vijaro.
Yes. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for the identification of the challenges. Some of these challenges that's been mentioned today are a little bit difficult to come up with solutions to straight away. I think they need further exploration so that we are applying the right solutions to some of the challenges that has been identified today. Slide 21 is on challenges, which I will not be going over. I just want to round up by just emphasizing what managers should be doing in order to make sure that the expectations in terms of where we should be with quality should be considered. So moving forward, I'm looking at slide 22. You would all get this PowerPoint presentation eventually. What we are saying here is policy makers, major stakeholders, managers, chief execs, they should prioritize all aspects of quality. It's high time to raise the profile of quality within organizations, and there should be real commitment, not just lip service paid to it. We should go back to our quality policies and frameworks and procedures and revise this if we have some already in place. Otherwise, perhaps we need to devise policies that are fit for purpose for our own MDIs. At this point in time, managers and major stakeholders should be looking at creating some sort of quality department or a quality nominee or an institutional quality person, somebody who has key responsibility for quality, somebody with integrity who will perform as per the responsibility of the role. Maybe it's wise for this person to report directly to the chief execs. Managers should start to look at targets and they should match this with good benefits and reward systems. So if you have somebody who is high performing, who has continually maintained quality, perhaps we should put some sort of benefits and reward systems in place. Managers should think about regular internal audits to check how quality management system is working and that there's conformity to set standards. You need to make sure that your staff are trained to be qualified assessors and trainers, qualified IQA, their certification for these qualifications. If you don't want to do qualifications, you can put them through the process without certification. We should also ensure that there's consistency and support to anybody that is involved in quality. I think that brings us to the end of today's presentation. There are some video clips, short clips at the end, which you may want to look at after today. Thank you very much for your time. Is there any question other than the things we have discussed today? Any question?